Hello and welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. George Cook-Rinn, a chiropractic neurologist specializing in neurorehabilitation with faculty affiliations across several chiropractic postgraduate programs. In these short clinical discussions, we take a close look at topics in brain and nervous system rehabilitation, the neuroscience behind them, how they present clinically, and what we can actually do about it. Today's topic is no exception, so let's get started. Three recent studies illuminate the neural architecture underlying human locomotion. Farhani, 2026, provide a hierarchical model centered on brainstem control of gait, emphasizing the pedunculopontine nucleus as integrators of sensory input, motivational state, and contextual cues that coordinate CPG to automate rhythmic movement. Goulding, 2025, broadened this view, demonstrating how proprioceptive and mechanosensory feedback is woven into both descending feed-forward pathways and local CPG circuits. D.I. Russo, 2023, ground these concepts computationally, showing through a neuromechanical model that CPGs are necessary for rhythmic locomotion. Reflex networks alone cannot sustain it, and that sensory feedback exerts a predominantly inhibitory influence on motoneurons during perturbation. Together, these works converge on a CPG reflex brainstem hierarchy as the core framework for understanding and rehabilitating locomotor dysfunction. Vestibulospinal and reticulospinal descending pathways and local spinal cord reflexes will be our targets for rebuilding CPG and gait. Here's the neurophysiological basis for rehabilitation. 4 studies from the NONIX group illuminate how subcortical descending pathways, particularly the tectoreticulospinal tract, compensate for corticospinal failure and locomotion. In hereditary spastic paraplegia, HSP, where corticospinal degeneration delays movement, a startling acoustic stimuli normalize reaction times by triggering subcortically stored motor programs via the intact reticulospinal tract. NONIX, 2014. Postural response delays in HSP implicate slowed posterior column afference rather than efferent reticulospinal failure. NONIX, 2013. Collectively, these works establish the reticulospinal tract as a critical locomotor reserve pathway that may be modulated by the tone pacer app through acoustical stimulation. Using the tone pacer app for auditory cueing, set the stereo mode to reciprocal to establish a left-right-left auditory cadence and adjust the beeps per minute to the patient's functional capacity, typically between 35 and 80 BPM. The patient performs a robot walk, an exaggerated cross-crawl gait in which the left foot steps forward simultaneously with a right arm uppercut punch, followed by the right foot stepping forward with a left arm uppercut. Each beep cues the next step. This cadenced, exaggerated, contralateral limb pattern preferentially recruits accessory descending motor pathways, particularly the reticulospinal and propriospinal tracts, that support rhythmic whole-body locomotor coordination independent of corticospinal drive. The uppercut arm motion adds an ascending momentum component that further engages vestibulospinal influences on postural tone and axial stability. Concurrent 100 skull vibration provides somatosensory entrainment via muscle spindle and IA afferent activation, reinforcing translational movement initiation and amplifying descending pathway recruitment through sensor motor resonance. Second interface is found through non-invasive spinal cord modulation. 3 studies converge on transcutaneous spinal cord stimulation, TSDC, as a tool for modulating spinal reflex excitability across neurological conditions. SORDET, 2026, established that transspinal evoked potentials TAP and H reflexes behave equivalently under sensory activation interventions, such as low-frequency electrical stimulation. Sandler, 2025, extend this to spinal cord injury, finding that single-site continuous TSCs at 50 Hz selectively targeting modulation interneuronal inhibitory circuit. Wang, 2026, demonstrated the cortical dimension. Anodal TSDC through top-down cortical inhibition acts as the primary mechanism by which spinal hyperexcitability is normalized. Together, these works frame TSDC efficacy as operating across a corticospinal inhibitory axis, tunable at both segmental, interneuronal, and supraspinal levels depending on stimulation parameters. Central pattern generator rehabilitation, electrical neuromodulation. In this segment, we'll cover two methods of applying electrical neuromodulation as part of a central pattern generator rehabilitation protocol. The first method is transspinal direct current stimulation. Electrodes are placed over the spine to deliver low-level DC current that modulates spinal interneuron excitability and prime CPG circuitry. The second method uses reciprocal peripheral nerve stimulation of the lower extremity, alternately targeting the peroneal and tibial nerves to engage the flexor extensor rhythm that underlies locomotor patterning. Both methods require simultaneous reciprocal acoustic stimulation delivered via the tone pacer, which provides the rhythmic auditory entrainment signal that coordinates the timing of neuromodulation with the intended motor pattern. Okay, tell me when you first feel something. It'll be like a tingling sensation. Doesn't matter if you feel it here or down here.
Laura? Who's in the massage?
Okay, let's try the other one.
Did you look?
Okay, this time when you lift the left one up, see if you can turn the toes out while you lift it up.
Did you see a person in there?
The door's shut.
Linda?
Is
Go
she
ahead and
here?
do that with the right leg. Start trying rotate it
How would her go?
out this way. Okay, try the left one again. Okay, relax.
No? No?
No walk today?
Put your foot back. Stabilize. I've got you. Okay.
No.
No, come on. No?
Central pattern generator rehabilitation, reciprocal peripheral nerve stimulation. For this technique, you'll need an electrical muscle stimulator with reciprocating capability, specifically a unit that can alternate stimulation between channel 1 and channel 2. The diagram shown here illustrates the electrode placement over the peroneal and tibial nerves in a cross formation. This cross-pattern configuration simulates cross-crawl activity which directly engages the central pattern generator. The tone pacer provides simultaneous reciprocal acoustic cueing, prompting the patient to perform a walking movement, as you'll see demonstrated shortly.
I'd be right there. He likes his picture taken. Oh goodness, you're ready, huh? Watch your legs.
Can you walk towards me, Richard?
Yeah, I have my jacket. She has my jacket.
See you Friday. That concludes our discussion for today. I hope you found this information valuable for your clinical practice. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you continued success in your work with patients. I hope to see you again at a future lecture.